Hey guys, it's Grand Admiral Thrawn fan, and happy Star Wars Day, Grand Admiral Thrawn fans, I guess is how I would say that now. But yeah, today is actually one of the best holidays if you're a Star Wars fan, and I figured I needed to celebrate it in a very special way with a special video. So, a long time ago in this galaxy far, far away, I used to do all these videos on my channel of where I did like the top 20 Jedi, the top 20 Sith, the top 20 droids, and all these videos. And for the most part, I think they're all outdated now because they were very early in my YouTube career, and also just we've had a lot of other characters and ships and stuff come around that kind of outdate those videos. But there is one that I think did not ever get outdated. There is a ship I would add to that, but I don't think my top 20 ships video that I did is outdated. I actually still really like that one. I would just probably add the Onyx Cinder to the list. But yeah, and since that was one of my May the 4th videos, I decided I'm going to be doing a video of ranking the top 15 speeders in all of Star Wars. My original idea was just to do a Kylo Ren Black Series review, but I decided that no, I wanted to do something a little more challenging and find 15 specific speeders in Star Wars and do the top 15 of them. So just to clarify, when I say the top 15, I don't mean types of speeders. Like, for example, the 501st speeders will not be included, or snow speeders altogether won't be included, but a specific character's snow speeder will be included. Now, with all of that out of the way, this list was very hard to make because, unlike spaceships, there aren't that many speeders in Star Wars that belong to a specific character and keep showing up. But I did it. And before I go through the top 15, I wanted to go through a few honorable mentions. So, some of my honorable mentions are Darth Maul's speeder from Phantom Menace, Jesse's speeder from Clone Wars that he uses to carry the injured Rex since he got shot in the chest, the Pasaana speeders that they use during the chase on Pasaana, the festival, the speeder that Anakin uses during Attack of the Clones when they're chasing after Zam Wesell. Mon Mothma has a pretty cool speeder in Andor, so that one made the cut. Basically, every speeder that isn't on this list is an honorable mention. One that I do want to state something specific about and was almost number 15 is the speeder that Hunter steals in Bad Batch that I actually have the Lego version of right here. You can't actually see it, but cool. I really like that speeder because of how it's green and it's just got a really cool design. And I just like the fact of this guy almost hits Hunter. And since Hunter's in an emergency and needs to go save Omega, he decides, yeah, I'm going to steal this one. And then they never return that speeder, by the way. They just leave it in that guy's garage. It's pretty cool. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's get started and go through the actual top 15 speeders in all of Star Wars. Number 15, I have Leia and Luke's scout bike from Return of the Jedi. This is very vague, so let me break it down for you. Essentially, you have the scout troopers and their speeder bikes. This is the one that Leia steals and then goes chasing after those other scout troopers. Luke joins her. And so, yeah, this is a very vague inclusion, but it's one of the coolest scenes in Return of the Jedi with the speeder chase. It really helps like expand on the galaxy of Star Wars, and it's a really cool chase that I like. So yes, I included this speeder. I was actually tempted to include the scout troopers from The Mandalorian, their speeder bikes, simply because their conversation is hysterical in The Mandalorian. But they did not make the cut. So number 15, Leia and Luke's scout bike. Number 14, this is where we get to our first actual named character's speeder. I have Zam Wesell's speeder from Attack of the Clones. I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I actually really prefer Zam Wesell's over Anakin's. I just really like the color scheme of hers, of how it's green and orange, and how it has a closed cockpit. I actually kind of like that because A lot of speeders are open ones, and that makes sense since speeders are more like cars or motorcycles. But I don't know, I just really like how hers has a closed cockpit. It's got a cool design. And I really like the speeder during the chase. Yeah, Zam Wessel isn't that big of a character, but she's still pretty cool how she's a shapeshifter, and that gives this speeder bonus points. But can we please get a re-release of that Lego set of this speeder? It's been like 20 years now, probably more, since we got this in Lego form. I think this would make for a great Lego set. So yeah, 14th place, Zam Wessel's speeder. Number 13, this is where we get into Skeleton Crew. I've actually grouped all these speeders together, but I just really like how in Skeleton Crew, all the kids' bikes are kind of meant to be just like ordinary bicycles that you would have found in a neighborhood back in the day. So yeah, I really like this one. I'm specifically going to put Wim's above the others because his is like the main one. But Neil has a cool one, and then I like Vern's because hers has the sidecar that KB rides in. Even though in the finale we do see that KB has her own, I just think it's cool that Vern's has the sidecar. Yeah, I just really like these speeders. They add a lot to the first episode of Skeleton Crew, and it just gives them some personality. So yeah, number 13, Wim and the Kids' Bikes. Number 12, this is where we get to a really cool one. In 12th place, I have Cobb Vanth Speeder. Now, Cobb Vanth is already a cool character because he's a warden in this Tatooine town. He's kind of like a Western cowboy, and he's wearing Boba Fett's armor. But then on top of that, his speeder is just the engine of a pod racer with a seat mounted on the side. That's pretty cool. Like, you got to admit, that's a pretty cool speeder design. I really like it. Plus, I like how its color actually kind of matches with his armor that he's wearing, with how it's red and yellow. I just think that's a cool callback and a really cool speeder. So yeah, plus bonus points because Cobb Vanth is pretty cool. Oh, did I say warden? I mean the marshal because, there's not really a difference, but he is the marshal. So yeah, cool marshal, cool speeder. Okay, 11th place. This is where we get to an important one. I have Sabine's second speeder, specifically hers from Ahsoka. Now, what I mean by this is her second speeder, because in Rebels, Sabine actually did have a speeder along with Kanan and Ezra, and they showed it a few times during chases and rides, but I don't know, something always just felt like Sabine had the weakest speeder in Rebels, because hers does have a pretty cool design, and I do like it. It's just Kanan's and Ezra's have such great paint jobs, and then Sabine's has just like a little bit of blue striping on it. And you're telling me that the artist has the least detailed bike out of the entire crew? I don't know, that just never made sense to me. But when you fast forward to Ahsoka, I really love her design. I think her speeder actually might have a better paint job design than Ezra's. The only reason I'm putting it lower is simply because, well, it's just kind of copying Ezra's. But, like, I don't know. I really like her speeder. It's cool during that chase of where she's outrunning the New Republic. I just really like her speeder, and I'm glad I got to include Sabine's speeder on this list because I doubt I would have included her first one if I didn't include this one. So, yeah, in 11th place, Sabine's second speeder. Also, bonus points because Sabine is one of the best Mandalorians in all of Star Wars. She might actually be my favorite Mandalorian. Alright, in 10th place, this is where we get to Sebulba's Pod Racer. I really like Sebulba's Pod Racer because it's kind of the threat during all of the pod racing scenes, because Sebulba is a cheater, and his speeder is massive compared to everybody else's. He's ramming other racers off the track until they explode, and it's just got this really cool design. I like the orange and black. I really like how it's just massive, how its engines are just like 5 times the size of Anakin's, and yet Anakin's little speeder is just as fast because Anakin's the better pilot. I really like that. It really shows a lot of how Sebulba is just a cheater and he's an attention hog, but he's not actually that good. I really like that. Yeah, there's not too much I really have to say. I like the V designs that the engines have of how they're like sideways V's. That's pretty cool. And pod races in general are just kind of something that's pretty awesome. I mean, yeah, what else is there really to say? I like Sebulba's pod racer. I kind of think we also need an updated Lego set of this speeder. But yeah, top 10 starting it off Sebulba's pod racer. I don't know. I really like Sebulba's. All right, like I said earlier, I would include a specific snow speeder. And in ninth place, I have Luke Skywalker's snow speeder from the Battle of Hoth in The Empire Strikes Back. Now, this snow speeder in general doesn't actually do that much if you think about it, because Luke isn't even the one who takes down any of the AT-ATs. He's about to, but then Dak gets shot and dies, so Luke has to have Wedge take out the first walker. Luke doesn't actually do that. I picked Luke's because yes, it's obvious that you go with Luke Skywalker's. He's the one you remember for during the snow speeder chase. But in general, his speeder kind of just gets shot down and then almost stepped on, which is a very awesome scene. I'm just saying, compared to the other speeders on this list, this one doesn't really do much, but it's very memorable, and it's a snow speeder, and snow speeders in general are awesome, so that helps. Plus, it's Luke Skywalker's and Dax, so that gives it a few bonus points. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like if Dak didn't get shot, Luke probably could have helped defeat all the walkers during that battle. But that's not how it went. Luke almost got stepped on and his co-pilot got killed. But hey, it's still a cool action sequence, and yeah, I don't know. I think this speeder earned its spot in ninth place. All right, here we go. Like I said with Sabine's, in eighth place, I have Ezra's speeder from Star Wars Rebels. Now, the reason I have this one higher than Sabine's is because Ezra's has a really cool paint job, and Sabine's second speeder kind of just copies this speeder. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. These are common speeders, and Sabine is an artist. This one is probably just an Imperial one they stole and then Sabine painted. I believe that's actually like what they say it is in Rebels. But yeah, I really like Ezra's speeder. It gives us some cool chase scenes, and just him riding it is pretty cool. I like how its color scheme kind of matches with his, but it doesn't exactly. Because Ezra wears orange and brown, meanwhile his speeder is orange and green. So that's pretty cool. I like how it is just one of the Imperial speeders, but it's got this really cool paint job. And I don't know, I really like his speeder. It could be that I had the toy of this when I was growing up. But yeah, I really like this speeder. And who knows, maybe we'll get to see it in Ahsoka Season 2. Number 7. This is where we get to our first movie speeder. Oh, no, wait, no, Zam Wessel was. This is where we get to our first main character movie speeder. Now, something I really like about Rey's speeder is it's kind of just simplistic. Like, I don't know, it kind of just, it's a red, like, I don't know how to even describe it. It's like a rounded off square parts of it, and then it's just got these two little engines in the back. I don't know, I just really like its design. It kind of reminds me of an old tractor, and I like how the paint has its wear and tear. It's got a cool color scheme of how it's maroon, and then it's got bits of orange going for it. I like how Rey can attach and just hold all of her junk on the side of the speeder for when she wants to salvage and sell that junk, or scrap metal, or whatever she's scavenging. That's pretty cool. And yeah, this is a speeder that we actually get quite a few scenes of in Force Awakens. So I feel confident in putting Rey's speeder in the top 7. I would have put this speeder higher, but it doesn't really do much. After Rey meets up with Finn, the speeder's just gone and out of the story. Which is kind of how most speeders are in Star Wars. They get the ship and then they just ditch the speeder. But still, I feel pretty good about my placement. 7th place is pretty good for this speeder. In 6th place, this might be cheating because every other speeder I've included is like just a couple people or mostly just one could fit on it. Well, this is basically Jabba the Hutt's yacht. Actually, no, this is Jabba the Hutt's yacht, because in 6th place, I have Jabba's sail barge. Now, this does actually meet the qualifications I have for this video, because what counts as a speeder? It cannot be a spaceship, meaning like it can't go to space or anything, and it basically just, it belongs to a named character, like I said. So, yeah, I don't think there's much that's keeping this one from actually counting. It's just a very big speeder that a lot of people can fit on, because we know Jabba's sail barge can't actually go into space, judging based off the fact that it's got an exposed at, like, I don't know, you'd just die in space. So, yeah, I do really like Jabba's sail barge. It gives us one of the best action scenes in all of Return of the Jedi and Star Wars in general. It's where the Sarlacc pit happens, of when Luke and Han and Chewie are about to be fed to it. It's got some great action scenes, like when Luke has his lightsaber shot to him. That's pretty cool. It's got the cannons, and I don't know why Luke and all of them didn't just take the sail barge. They keep their tiny speeder, but at that point they had already kind of just killed all of Jabba's goons, so maybe they should have just kept the big speeder and rode that one. Maybe it has to do something with the fact that it's how big the speeder is. It's not that fast. But I don't know. I feel like they could have just took the big sail barge. I don't know. They're going to just ditch it anyway. There is a deleted scene of where they only rode the speeders back to the Millennium Falcon and the X-Wing and then just left. But still, I don't know. I just really like Jabba's sail barge, and I think it does meet my qualifications for this video. This is it. Here we go. Top 5. And before I say anything else, there might be a bit of bias towards this 5th place. Because in 5th place, I have Han Solo's land speeder. I've said it before, and I'll say it again multiple times. I'm a huge defender of Solo. And honestly, this is a hot take. I think Han's land speeder is cooler than Luke's. I don't know, I just really like the design of his N68, and I know that because Kira calls it one. I just really like it during the chase between his speeder that he's just stolen and Malak's speeder. That's really cool. And I like the fact that this is just some speeder Han Solo stole off the guy, and now it's his baby. I really like the Corellia chase scene. That's full of some great just tension and suspense, and it's a really cool chase. And this speeder has a really cool design. I like how it's kind of just a car, but then it's blue and white, and there's engines in the back, and I just really like that. I don't know, I like the windscreen and the windshield. It can seat 2 people, and yes, a little biased because I am a Solo fan, but I don't know, I like how Han has to outrun Malak and do all of his cool stunts, plus those Imperials that show up and Han just takes care of them immediately. And then I really like how this movie has Han trying to do something really impressive as a stunt, but he fails in his speeder, even though he made it almost the entire way through that alley. He just got stuck at the very end, and it might be a better thing that he did get stuck because he blocked the way from the hounds chasing after him. I like how Han hangs his lucky dice on this speeder, and we get to see those throughout the movie. I don't know. I just really like Han Solo's land speeder. I never actually got the Lego set of this, but I wish I did. So, yeah, I really like Han's land speeder because in the movie, Han tries the stunt, he fails it in his speeder, but then when he's behind the wheel of the Millennium Falcon, he nails it. It just says a lot about Han Solo. And yes, it's a really cool chase scene. So I feel really good about putting this in 5th place. Number 4, this is where we get to one of my favorite speeder designs in all of Star Wars. And I know, like, yeah, then why is it in 4th place? Because there are some speeders that are more iconic and deserve it. But in 4th place, I have Kanan's speeder bike. In Rebels, Kanan's speeder was always my favorite one for one simple reason. It's just so simplistic because speeder bikes are usually meant to represent motorcycles in Star Wars. So they had the idea, what if we just took a motorcycle and removed its wheels and made that a speeder? That's just so awesome. I really like how Kanan's bike is literally just a motorcycle turned into a speeder. It's really cool. I like the handlebars and how it's got the lights and just, it's got a great design of just a motorcycle. That's really cool. And it has a really cool color scheme going on of how it's dark green and kind of like a tannish coloring. It really matches with Kanan. Everything I said about Ezra's speeder, about how chases and everything, that's great. And it all applies here to Kanan's speeder. So yeah, I just really like Kanan's speeder. I think it is my favorite one in Rebels. And a lot of other speeders kind of just copy this design. Ahsoka's speeder in Clone Wars is just Kanan's speeder, but recolored. Also, Ahsoka's speeder, I think, is the only named one, because Junk is the only speeder that the only named speeder in all of Star Wars, and it didn't even make the list because its name is Junk. And all it does is fail Ahsoka and then get her almost killed. So it is a really cool scene of her saving the speeder from crashing. I just wanted to point that out. But I'm not here to talk about Junk. I'm here to talk about Kanan's speeder bike. And honestly, I really wanted to put this speeder higher on the list. But like I just said, there are some speeders that are just more iconic, and they're still cool. But I don't know, Kanan's speeder might be my favorite in all of Star Wars. However, there are ones that are way more important, and so I like them more. I'm just saying, if we got more of Kanan's, it would be my favorite. Top 3, third place, I have Mando's speeder. Now, Mando's speeder is another really cool design. Also, have it right here. Lego, yep. Yeah. This speeder is super iconic, and it's only in 2 episodes of The Mandalorian. And the best part, it doesn't even start out as Mando's speeder. This is the other guy's speeder. Mando has the same type of speeder, yes. Like, they're both riding the same speeders. Toro, I believe, was his name from that episode of The Mandalorian. Yeah. But anyway, it's a really cool speeder, and it's just super iconic. Like, when you think of The Mandalorian Season 2, you're probably thinking of this picture right here, or one of the other ones, like just the poster for The Mandalorian Season 2. The one I always think of is the one of where it's Mando and Grogu on the speeder with the sun in the background. I really like the blueness of that poster. And honestly, that poster probably carried this speeder into third place. But I don't know. I really like this speeder. Oh, wait, no. This speeder's in 3 episodes. I forgot about that. Because it's in the one where Mando and Toro go after Fennec Shand. It's in the one where he helps Cobb Vanth kill the Krayt Dragon. And then it's in the next episode with the Frog Lady when Mando gets attacked and the speeder just gets wrecked. But who knows, this speeder might actually show up in The Mandalorian and Grogu. Not the exact one, but one of its kind might. And I'm not going to lie, that'd be pretty cool if it did. So yeah, third place, Mando's speeder / Toro's. This is a pretty cool speeder, and I'm glad I got to include it in the top 3. But now, before I get to the top 2, I just want to say something. This might be the most controversial thing on this whole list. I don't have Luke's land speeder in first place. Now, before you get mad, yes, this is easily the most iconic speeder in all of Star Wars. But if you think about it, all this speeder really does is Luke uses it occasionally, like when him and 3PO go out to find R2. And then him and Obi-Wan and the droids ride to Mos Eisley after he's attacked by the Sand People. And then Luke just sells it, and that's it. That's all this speeder does in A New Hope. That's its entire role. And yes, so many other speeders in Star Wars copy this design because it is easily the most iconic. And it's still a really cool speeder. It really does feel like somebody who's a farmer owns this speeder because it's not the nicest or newest speeder, but you know it's reliable. I really like that. It's got several very great scenes in A New Hope, and it's very iconic. I really like its design of how it's got like the grill on the siding. It has like the 3 engines, and the one engine doesn't actually match the others. And like I just said, this is the most iconic speeder in all of Star Wars. I also have this one in Lego form. Yeah, I'm not just trying to show off my Lego collection. I'm trying to say how iconic these speeders are. I really do like Luke's land speeder, but there was one speeder that I had to put in first place, but I'm not ready to talk about that. I like how Luke's land speeder has an orange and maroon design going for it, and like I just said, it is the most iconic speeder in all of Star Wars. But there's one speeder that I had to put in first place for one simple reason. Anakin's Pod Racer. Now, this is the second most iconic speeder in all of Star Wars, but it's one that is the most crucial to its movie's plot, because if Anakin doesn't win the pod race, Qui-Gon and all the people, like Obi-Wan, all the Naboo people, have no way of getting off Tatooine. So, this speeder directly relates into its movie's plot, plus it's got a great design, and it's given 20 minutes of screen time during the pod race. And that is some of the best 20 minutes in The Phantom Menace. I really like the pod race scene. It's just really cool because Star Wars was trying something new and showing off a new type of thing. Like, we never really had seen races in Star Wars, which is a logical inclusion in the Star Wars franchise. Why wouldn't people be racing with their highly advanced vehicles? That's just something that's a logical inclusion, and I really like it. You feel tension, you are rooting for this speeder to win, and it's just got a really cool design. I really like its yellow and blue color scheme and how the engines are attached with the cables, and then there's the pink lightning that connects the two. That's really cool. And I don't know, I just really like when Anakin is fixing up his speeder and how he's trying to prove that he can help them to his mother, and just what it takes to convince her and then Watto to let him race. I really like this speeder, and without this speeder, Phantom Menace wouldn't actually work. They would just be stranded on Tatooine, and then Darth Maul would show up and probably kill them. Or, I don't know, but the movie would not be the same if you cut this speeder out of it. And when Sebulba messes with the speeder by cheating and sabotaging it, you actually worry for Anakin of how's he going to fix this while it's smoking. But Sebulba sabotaging Anakin is what leads to him losing the race, because the smoke causes him to crash. And that's really cool. I like when Anakin jumps off the ramp and still saves himself on falling. This is just a really cool speeder, and it easily became my number one on this video. So yeah, this is my picks for the top 15 speeders in all of Star Wars. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite speeder is. And before I go, one last time, I just want to say it. Happy Star Wars Day. This is going to be a great year for Star Wars fans. We've already got Maul Shadow Lord coming out, which, by the way, I can't wait to see the finale today. Then we have our first Star Wars movie in 7 years based off of one of the best TV shows. I am so excited for The Mandalorian and Grogu. It is my most anticipated movie of the year. Avatar: The Last Airbender, Legend of Aang is my second most anticipated movie. But I'm here to talk about Star Wars. This is going to be a great year. There's still a possibility of Ahsoka Season 2 coming out this year. So yeah, we've got a lot of great stuff to look forward to. Happy Star Wars Day, and may the 4th be with you. This is Grand Admiral Thrawn fan signing off, and I look forward to our next encounter in my next video.